right, so hello, Elizabeth Holter. Thank you for being here. We've been planning this for a few weeks now, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my community in Evolution University live. And then we will be sharing this with the rest of the world through Instagram TV and through YouTube. So I'm really happy to be able to provide this platform for you to share your gifts, your experience, and your expertise with tapping, emotional freedom technique. Is that right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Amazing. Yes, and I have, you and I have talked a little bit about this and my history with you. I used to be really, resistant to tapping until I've learned more about it. And I really look forward to hearing about your story and what you get to share with the world with your tapping.
Cool. Well, that's wonderful. I'm so excited to be here. So I'm based here in New Zealand, so it's quite early in the morning, not too early. So a little bit about me. I am a complex post-stress, how do you say it? The words have lost me, but everyone knows what I mean. But I
confidence coach, yes.
Yeah, but I also came from having a post-traumatic stress disorder complex from childhood trauma and abuse. So that's, so I grew up and I didn't come from a safe environment. So then when you move into adulthood, you find lots of other environments that aren't safe either, because you have to repeat that pattern. You have to reinforce how bad you feel about yourself. So when I first learned EFT, it became a bit of a savior for me because I had anxiety, I had panic, I got quite depressed, and it was what got me out. But from there, what's exciting about it is that I've learned that EFT can be used in so many areas of our lives. And I love that. I love the fact that you can use it to tweak things. If you feel like you're procrastinating, let's do some EFT. Or if you feel like you're in a situation you're unable to get out of, let's use some EFT to facilitate that change within you. So EFT, I call my work EFT counseling. And I have clients that come and we talk about things that are happening in their lives. And we talk about what's been showing up for them consistently. What is the thread today that is the most important? And then we tap into that and we start to shift things. So I'll just give you a brief understanding of tapping. Some people love the science, some people love, I just wanted to see that it's working. But it works on the meridians, and
I love the science. Talk a little bit about the science.
Yeah, so we are all energetic bodies. We're all energy. A lot of people know about auras, we've got these bodies going up, but we're all energy. And so the meridians are a Chinese thing with the chakras, not that we're working specifically on chakras, but we are working on pathways of energy in our body and around our body. And for you would know, and a lot of other people, when we have memories or incidents that happens to us, we store that sometimes in our body, sometimes just in our field. EFT is really effective at removing, by doing the tapping in different areas of our body, we're working on these meridians and we're removing that stuck energy, we're removing that pattern, allowing for some clarity, and quite often just feeling like you have more space around you because you lighten up. So that's how EFT works. You can do also, there's some other stuff that I do, which is Eft Matrix, which means you go back in and talk to the child. It's very specialized, but EFT, yes, can be very specific. You can do lots of different levels. But
I wasn't aware of that. So are you suggesting that you can do like inner child healing work?
Oh yeah, you can go in and actually work on your inner child with the person. It is really, something that is, you can go in and you can do that and you can go back to that child. It's not something I do a lot of. There needs to be a really good rapport between, like me and the client, because it can be, fairly intense. Those emotions can come up in a very different way. But EFT has so many applications, and it allows you to remove whatever is in your belief system. So when we feel stuck and we're in a situation, you know, we were talking a little bit about some people in your group have the co-parenting, you know, situations they have. It can be quite difficult navigating your own emotions and then your concerns for your children. Hey, you know, what's happening? How's this all going to work? And when we feel powerless in that, when we feel powerless, we actually, apart from taking that into our body, and we can feel depressed or anxious or thinking, you know, we just feel like, oh, there's no point, I can't make any change. When we tap into that, and we tap into whatever the situation is, if from that power, you know, not feeling powerless, and give that person a sense of empowering, it also opens up the vision to be able to find different solutions, feel better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself, then you have more energy to find different solutions. And that is often all we need. Because as human beings, what we need to know is that we're progressing in the right direction.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the way I see like getting into solution consciousness is we have to somehow get out of our victim or problem consciousness. And it's really can be hard to, you know, I have people sometimes say to me, what am I supposed to just stop thinking about it? And the answer is yes.
It can actually help you to stop thinking about it.
Yes, but you know, you and I did a practice or, you know, a demo session, and you helped me talk through some things. And that is exactly what it does. It kind of builds a, like a scaffold or a bridge from rumination over this, I have no money, how am I supposed to, you know, feed my kids, and blah, 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 over and over and over again. It kind of gets you to a new thought pattern or a new idea, and just energetically getting there can be enough to shift you into a higher consciousness, a higher frequency.
Absolutely. See, I'm getting goosebumps because
where all the solutions are available. Yes, it's just making yourself available to receive solutions that you couldn't see down here. You literally raise your vibration.
Stuck is, isn't it? It's exactly, we get stuck.
Yes.
And EFT removes that stuckness. And then, of course, we did a tiny bit of reframing. So once you get rid of the junk, then you can bring in some really solid phrases, bring in those words, which are power in our life, to say, oh, actually, I can do this and I can do that. Oh, I never even thought about that. And then they're off. And then your world opens up in a very different way. And that's why EFT, like alongside your work, is just, you know, they're like companions. They're like, yay, you know, it just makes it more effective. Yeah. So, because codependency is a really big thing, and it affects people's lives. It just gets right into every area and can really hold us in hooks for way too long. But we don't understand what those hooks are. So I had codependency counseling years ago from my mother, you know, where there was a whole lot of stuff happening in my family. And it is just such an important thing that you're doing. And I feel that EFT sits along that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think this is a great modality to add to anybody's toolbox.
Yeah.
Because as you know, the healing journey, it's a lifelong journey. It's just the process of being human. The human condition is just connecting more and more with our inner being, and being in the physical realm, connecting with our spiritual self. It's just always a closing the gap. And this is a wonderful modality to add to anybody's toolbox. So one of the things we talked about is the idea of when somebody feels powerless. Because I find that basically, as a species, we've been faced with these feelings of powerlessness over the last couple of years, with our survival needs being threatened. And not really anybody's escaped it, whether it's your health or your financial needs being threatened by the COVID situation, and, you know, all of that it has brought up. with closing businesses and job losses. And some people have experienced, you know, a whole lot of elevation and have been allowed a new level of freedom in their lives. And a lot of others are under heavier fear stories than ever before. So I think the idea of powerlessness is universal in the human condition. And I love that you brought up, let's talk about this, because it applies across the board and in a very deeply personal way for people who are stuck in relationships or jobs that they feel powerless to get out of. And they know that they're not healthy situations, or they're out of those situations, but maybe they're like in a tough co-parenting situation and there's a lot of power struggles. And there's also, like you talked about, people with their hooks in you. I have a couple of clients right now who are very proactively working on removing those hooks from past relationships. And they're like, I know this person is toxic to me. I know this relationship is very painful, but why do I keep going back to it?
Yeah, it's still a pattern. It's still held in your field. Yeah. And then there's also, you know, like the powerless to change the situation out there, powerless to have control over, you know, what's happening in the world. Powerless to situation, you know, working, relationship. And then there's that powerless to change how you feel about yourself. You know, if you have anxiety or there's a habit you feel powerless that you can actually do anything about. So powerless is a huge, as you say, from that personal right up to this, you know, worldly view, because there's also lots of new information and our beliefs are being challenged about what's happening in the world. So yeah, you can work on that. And I think maybe we'll do a little tap on it, just a very general tap on powerless, so people can see tapping, because a lot of the resistance to tapping is, oh my God, I look so silly. You know, like, what is so silly? I'm not going to do that.
This doesn't make sense. That was my resistance. Like, what's that going to do?
Yeah, and tapping also has had a big resurgence. So some people double tap, and you don't need to do any of that. That's actually more for show than anything else. So, and some people like that theatrical side of it, but it's actually not necessary. So we're going to do a tap on, it's just a general one. Now, if anybody would like to have some counseling, EFT counseling, I have a special running on my lizziesinsights.com website. And you can always join my Lizzie's Insights Facebook, because I put stuff up there every day, and if stuff's coming up. And if people have, because I also do EFT with children, and if people have, you know, they want to help kids, you just get hold of me and we will talk about a super special rate, because I really, for kids, it's, you know, they just get caught up in things and they can get stuck in different ways than we can. We actually have a little bit more reasoning power than they do. Yeah. Anyway, let's do a tap. I'm so excited. And we're going to, we'll make it sort of general about feeling powerless of things happening outside of us today, because, you know, what's happening in the world. Do you feel right about that, or would you like something else, Tina?
I think that's a perfect place to start. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so everybody's just going to follow me, and I'm just going to talk about what bits I'm tapping as I go. So with EFT, I use my 3 fingers. It's about using your pads and you're on your side of your hand. Then we do a setup. We do this 3 times. So you just have to follow me and we'll be all good. Okay.
Yeah, before you get started, do you want to just give the general outline of what you have your setup statement, and then what the framework is in general?
Okay, so we do a setup statement. We're going to tap here. You go even though, and then we put in a negative statement, and then we have a little round off, like, you know, I love and accept myself. And then we tap. We go from here, side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, and under the lips. Now this is interesting. Those 2 bits there, in our body, we have huge conductors. This is the starting, and then that conductor comes, and this is the end. So these are really important energy centers in our body, because they're really huge conductors. Yeah. And then we do the sort of just the collarbone here. Under the arm is actually just sort of in line with your nipple, male or female, under your arm. That's where that is. And then we come back to the top of the head. And in the top of the head, it's not quite the middle, it's just a little bit back. And that's the whole round. Now, we might go around twice, but we're just doing the same points.
Okay.
Was that clear enough? Was that good?
Yeah, and then we're supposed to, like, the idea is that we end up with a much more empowering statement.
Everybody, when you come through, as we're doing the EFT, and I'm facilitating the words, saying, okay, this is what we're doing. Every time we're here, I might be saying a different statement, all the same. And when we get to the end, we take a deep breath. And for some people, it'll be like, oh yeah, that's just shifted. That was exactly where my thread is today. For other people, it might be, oh, I feel a little bit different, because it might not have been exactly their thread. So people will feel differently, but usually people feel lighter. They feel like a weight's been lifted off them in a sense, and they feel a little bit lighter. But it'll be, there is a personal aspect. It'll be where they've started from. Their specific fear of feeling powerless may be different to yours or mine.
Right.
So
okay.
So we'll just go through, and people can put, if there are people there, they can put comments and say, oh, hey, that worked for me, that didn't work for me. This is what I felt. Hey.
Awesome. Okay. I love it.
All right, so we're going to go. We're going to start here with the 3.
Okay. I'm going to mute myself.
Even though, just on the side here, 3 fingers, your fingertips. Yep. So even though I feel powerless over what's happening in my life.
I feel powerless over what's happening in my life.
I deeply
and completely
love, honor, and accept myself. So we do this 2 more times. So even though I feel powerless over what's happening in my life.
I feel powerless over what's happening in my life.
I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. So last time, so even though I feel powerless over what's happening in my life.
I feel powerless over what's happening in my life.
I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. So I'm just 2 fingers now, and we're just going to go around here. So yeah, I can't change what's happening.
I can't change what's happening.
All the stuff that is happening out there.
All of the stuff that's happening out there.
I can't change it.
I can't change it.
There's nothing I can do.
There's nothing I can do
to make that stop. I am powerless over that. It's too much for me.
It's too much for me.
I can't stop focusing on it. It's getting in my head. It's making me upset. I feel powerless. It's taking over. All my energy is going to thinking about that. I feel completely powerless. Over what is happening in the world. It's just too much. And then we're going to take a breath. Now with EFT, the words that you say and with the tapping, it's telling your mind that you actually can. It's telling your mind the absolute opposite. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to let it come into your energy, into your own orbit. And so that's about releasing the things happening out there. That is not as important as what's happening in here. So that was just a normal round of tapping. And then, of course, you can reframe that and bring new things in. But I kind of like to do that on a personal basis because the reframing could be for you could be different to the next person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you feel at the end of that tap?
I felt neutral.
Yeah, because for you, you're probably already in a different space. And
yeah, I don't necessarily feel powerless.
Exactly.
What's going on out there? I was trying to think.
There was that neutral feeling, and that's really good because EFT takes the emotional charge away from people. And being neutral means that you are in the right space to make informed decisions, to move forward without bringing stuff with you. You're just making a decision in the moment. So you feeling neutral is absolutely perfect.
Because I can be available for the infinite possibilities to be presented.
And you and I are both feeling more powerful in our lives. So, but it was a good tap because some people who are going to do that, it's actually going to shift things for them because they have in that space.
I was actually thinking about a couple of my clients, my private clients who are like, you know, when you said, I can't stop thinking about it. Like some of them are ruminating over their old relationships that they're trying to let go of.
And so that powerless, so that, you know, we did that really general about out there, but that's exactly what happens. And that's part of that hook. You have this loop happening and you feel you don't have any control over it. And it's like, you know, that bad habit you have, you cannot remove it because you're powerless to make changes. And that's exactly how EFT will shift that off. It'll say no, and then you can say, oh, I have different choices now, and that is just magic when we know we have a different choice. Yeah.
Do you help people with like addiction?
Yeah.
Because codependence basically is an addiction.
I stopped smoking using EFT.
No,
I did a meditation and I tapped, and I had no withdrawals, no cravings, nothing.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was based on, this is very brief, but I did a meditation, and I kept saying to myself, you know, every couple of days, why do I do this? Why?
Yeah.
And I went into this meditation, and it was a situation with my mother when I was about 10 or 11. And I really wanted her to love me. And I had saved my sock pocket money, and I bought her this little bread and butter thing. And I'd gone in and given it to her because, you know, my mother, our house was really clean. Us kids had to clean a lot to keep it from, you know. And she said, oh, we should do more housework. And so I sort of thought, I'm going to go in, and it's because she didn't love me. It's because she was so mean to me. That's why I smoke. But I got into this meditation, and it wasn't about that. It was because even at my age, I knew my mother needed help, and I couldn't help it.
You felt powerless to help your mother.
Yeah, it was about my light inside my soul. I knew my mother was so sad, and I couldn't help it. And I'm getting teary now. I just bawled in this meditation. I cried, and I just started, you know, kept doing the EFT about smoking, and that was what. That feeling of not being able to help somebody, that feeling that my mother, even though I was that age, I knew her life, she was so sad, I couldn't help her. And that was the trigger. And so in my life as I went on, I took that with me, and smoking means you keep those emotions down. It's swallowing it all down. So so EFT was really effective in removing what was the emotion behind the habit, because it is what the emotion. The smoking is just the outwardly thing. It's not the thing.
None of the things are the thing. It's, you know, the social media addiction, the food addiction, the drinking, the drugs, the codependence to another person. They're all just keeping us from feeling the feelings that we don't want to feel.
Exactly. So but for me, you know, I just thought it was my ego, you know, she was mean to me, and it was nothing to do with it. It was about that real connection underneath. And that's, and a lot of people
profound
have the soul contract, and they're here to be doing their work. And when they haven't done it, they hold things really deeply within them. And you know, so EFT, I just love EFT. I just think it's just gonna, you know, I just think everybody should learn EFT. Everybody should know how to shift things for themselves. You know, and as I say, I use it every day. and I every day, and I have some of my clients, I say, okay, we're going to work on this week. I want you to do this, to shift that, to bring in the new stuff. You don't have to have huge traumatic things happening. You know, let's just tweak ourselves and get us even, you know, in a better state. Yeah, it's very exciting.
So you're talking about just having it be a part of your regular life, like meditation or journaling or whatever, to keep you clean.
Yeah, so
keep your energy clean.
You have a belief and it comes up, you think, so I did a whole week, I have a little notebook, just a little tiny, and I thought, right, I'm going to look at, do tapping every day, you know, what do I really think about money? You know, why aren't I having this? And I just, every day, I would write down at the end of the tap if anything had come up, and I just did it for a week. It was really interesting because some silly things we attach to beliefs. It's like, what, you know, why would I think that? But we do. It's behind, you know, it's that program running behind the program. It's the software that, you know,
yes. Right.
But you can do that for all sorts of things. You can say to yourself, oh, you know, why do I keep wanting to contact that ex-person all the time? Why does it keep coming up? You know, what is it that I think I'm getting? And you can tap for it. What is it I'm getting when I do that? What need is it fulfilling? And you can do that, you know, do it over a week. And at the end of the week, you will probably, if you haven't eliminated, you would definitely, okay, that is why I feel I like the loop of him rejecting me.
Keep playing the cycle around and around.
Bad about myself. And if I don't feel bad about myself, I don't feel right.
Right.
That's what I've been, you know, that pattern.
And so, it's interesting because people will replay the cycles, even if intellectually they know, oh, I know that this is just me, you know, going to an addiction, and because it feels good, I'm compelled to have that hit, even though I know what's going to happen on the other end of it.
Some payoff.
It's an emotional
payoff, and yeah, absolutely.
And this is a really beautiful way to bring that emotion up, like you did with your mother, that you had your ego had no idea.
Absolutely. I was like, wow, this is not what I had anticipated. And
that's interesting.
The truth, different truth, you know. So addiction is attached to an emotional thing. But you know, when people get obsessive about exes or obsessive about things in their life, there is some payoff they think they're getting.
Yeah.
And when we work out what the payoff is, let's get rid of it. There you go. It's gone. Yeah.
When it's just all about another way to access our subconscious. Is what it sounds like. And it's funny, I have two people who are coming to my retreat. Both of
I wish I could come to your retreat.
I do too. I do too.
So amazing.
Well, I think I told you
you might come do something down under, probably in Australia, but
in the next year, believe it or not. And they are both smoking and hoping to quit soon. So
well, tell them to go to my website. I've got a special going. I've got a promo. Put Pathway in. You're going to get 20% off.
Nice.
And we can, even in one session, you can learn enough to start removing stuff. You know. Yeah.
What is so you do on your website? You have a promotion right now.
Yep. If you put the promo Pathway for anybody who comes through your group, anybody who sees this, they get 20% off. Yeah.
Amazing. So I will post that, your link and the promo code in the group, and so that people can see all about you and where they can find you on social media and your website, and also access your 20% off link.
Oh, so exciting.
Yes, so that they can get help with whatever that pattern is, and release it. Like, what is this inside of me?
Yeah, and finally get to be living a life that they design. So, you know, when you start to remove stuff, you finally get, and that's what you do with your clients. They finally get to start living a life by their design.
Right. And it's all about removing these patterns that we aren't even aware of. And I asked like the deep questions, but I really love this modality to help people find those answers where just questioning may not be enough to access them.
So, you know, maybe when you have your retreat, I can come over and just work, you know, on some
absolutely.
I mean, that would be just the magic. Hey,
I would absolutely love to have you there as a practitioner and show this and demo and give us some sessions. For sure.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and there's another thing. I don't know if I brought this up with you, but we did talk about Nick Ortner and him bringing tapping to the mainstream, or mainstream spiritual community.
Yeah.
But were you familiar with that story about the school shooting in Sandy Hook, in California, somewhere in New England in the States? It was, you know, a bunch of children it was a tragedy where somebody came to the school ground, and he took the tapping solution into that community. Are you familiar with that story?
No, because we don't get, so, you know, our news is different here. I do know Nick Olden. He's, you know, I've read some of his books. You know, he's really put EFT into people's consciousness. But what a present he gave those kids, because he removed that emotional charge. We can't change the events, but if we emotionally don't have the residue in our bodies, how wonderful. And that's why, you know, I've been working with kids as well to remove some of the just stuff that they don't need to carry around.
Right. And they're probably not even aware that they are.
Yeah, but those kids in that incident, in that traumatic, it would have been starting to completely sabotage anything they move forward in. So absolutely. I just think that is absolutely a beautiful story.
He took it to the whole community, the parents, the teachers, the kids, everybody, and really transformed that community through that work. So
that's the power of, you know, turning up, showing up, doing your work, being the person you are, and EFT, you know, how it can transmute so much stuff out of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder, do you have anything else to share with us about your experience, about how you are, what you're bringing to the world?
Well, I've got a couple of new projects coming up, and before the end of the year, I'm going to be doing some little mini series. So it'll be a 4-session plus homework and some coursework on, I finally get to, in a couple of different areas of life. Like I finally get to really know what abundance is. I finally get, one of my big things at the moment is I finally get to have an amazing relationship with my body. Now, I know that, you know, for you, movement's really important, but for people who have had anxiety or setbacks and bad body image, they start living their life up here, and they separate from their body. So we store everything. EFT, everything's stored in our body. We have to get rid of that stuff and then start having a different relationship. So that's coming up. So that'll be on my website, and that will be on my Facebook group, Facebook page. And so that's something that I think is going to have a really resonate with people, changing their thoughts, changing their relationship. It's not about diet. It's not about weight. It's about love and friendship with yourself.
Amazing. That is fabulous. That is fabulous.
So, yeah. Oh, look, this has just been awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Right, so you, thank you again for inviting me. And I think if as I say, anybody wants to reach out and contact me, that would be perfectly fine. And yeah, so if you could put, I sent you something that's got all those details, Lizzie's insights and stuff. And just talks a little bit about, you can finally start getting to have this in your life too. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. This has been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to us collaborating in the future.
Yeah, next year, because it's on my list to go to Aussie next year.
Amazing.
So things are happening.
Yes, absolutely. Things are moving, and thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Gina.
Thank you. And I'm just going to stop the live stream.